Alright, so let's open our session for today. Keep your back and neck straight, sit comfortably, and once you feel ready, very gently close your eyes. Just start observing your breath. Watch the natural flow of your breathing as you inhale and as you exhale. Now gently shift your attention to your body. Become aware of your posture. Align your body. Gently come back to the breathing and begin to deepen the breath. Slow, long and deep inhalations. Slow, long and deep exhalations. We will open today's session by chanting Om 3 times, followed by 3 Shantis. Take a deep breath in for Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Feel the vibrations. Now join both your palms together and begin to rub both your palms. Place your palms on your eyes. Very slowly, while blinking and looking at your palms, begin to open up your eyes, coming back with a smile. Om Shanti Namaste. Let us begin our session for today. Okay, so in last class we were talking about lifestyle and we had covered most of the topics under that. Only one last topic is left and that topic is called behavior, right? So we have covered so far food, the recreation, conduct and the thoughts, and last point that you can easily incorporate into your life is the behavior, right? So behavior is nothing but every single thing that you do each and every day, right? So yes, am I audible?
Excuse me, the connection is not good at the moment. There are some interruption.
Wait, okay. Let me just... Is my voice better now? Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah.
Okay, let's continue like this for a while and then we'll see again.
Yes, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we were talking about the behavior, and behavior is nothing but each and every day whatever you are adding up, right? So each and every task, how it should be done so that it can turn into an attitude or a habit, and those habits are finally going to govern how you lead the rest of your life, right? So unless and until you make an effort to change them again, which will again bring you back to this behavior point only, because when you begin to change each and every action, then you start seeing change in the overall development of the habit, right? So in the beginning of the classes also we have talked about how each and every task should be done. So I explained very deeply when we were trying to understand the definition of yoga, how each and every task has to be done. And I said at that point of time, the very famous shlok from Bhagavad Gita, which focuses on what is the quality of the action. So it says yoga karmasu kaushalam, right, which means the perfection in action is yoga, right? So what are the characteristics, or how do we reach this perfection? We do the task with full concentration, we do the task with full dedication, we do one thing at a time, right? So when you want to concentrate better, what do? You don't multitask, you do one thing at a time. And multitasking any which way is a myth. Why? Because our brain, it can only focus on one thing at one time, right? Just the speed of jumping from one place to the other, that increases, so we think we are multitasking, but we are actually only capable of doing one task at a time, right? So doing one task at a time with full concentration and dedication without making any judgment, right? This task is too low for me to do, or this is above or beyond my capacity, right? Without making any judgment, if you are given some task, or if there are a set of responsibilities that you have to complete, what you begin to do slowly is you begin to just do that task without any analysis on that, right? So I'm not saying that you don't see what kind of task you have been given, but then again, if it's like a very minor kind of task which is not in your job role at all, still you have been given that responsibility, so you should do that responsibility. And last point, in one, I have given you 3 points, 1, 2, 3, right? And the fourth point that is very important is being free from the result of the action, right? So suppose I am constantly focused on the result of an exam that I have been preparing for, or maybe the interview, right, of any kind of job that I have, like any job interview that I appeared for, right? So constantly till the time that result comes up, I will be in stress, right? So the concept of releasing the expectation, or being away from the fruit of the action, okay, not being concerned about what the fruit of the action will be, is going to help you to release the expectation, be very relaxed in any kind of situation, right? So each and every task daily should be done with these few sets of qualities, right? So another thing, so this is given in Bhagavad Gita, in the Yoga Sutras again, the quality of the task, doing the task has been discussed, and over there how we deal with each and every person, that has been discussed in detail, right? So for example, if I am dealing with someone who is having a good attitude towards life, I will show a friendly attitude towards them, right? So, when you walk on the path of yoga, or in general, when you go into such an environment where people have a positive outlook towards life, right? Which, makes life easier, right? Because I can either cry about that thing, or I can, look at it positively, right? So why not look at it positively, right? So when you find such kinds of people in your life, you should show an attitude of friendliness towards them, right? Not an attitude of being closed off, but be friendly towards such people, because the people around you, they are going to highly influence how you live your life, because the people in our life, they impact us, right? So choose more wisely. People who think more positively, those are the people you should technically aim to become friends with or have in your immediate environment, right? Then Patanjali talked of the second category of people, and he said that there are some category, like there are few people that you will meet who are sad, right? Or who are suffering because of some reason or the other. And once you meet such category of people who are suffering, right, you should show a sense of compassion towards them, okay? So when one struggles through life like you are struggling through life, so when you get a practice like yoga, which helps you to cope up or deal with the problems from the root, you also see this thing that everybody around you is suffering in some manner or the other, and you understand that suffering, right? So in the time of sadness, in the time of pain, you can at least show compassion towards those people, right? At that point of time, compassion holds a lot of relevance. Yeah. So then the third category of people you will encounter in your life, they are called the virtuous kind of people. So suppose you meet some guru, or you meet some spiritual leader in your life, or it could even come in the form of a mentor for you, right? So those people are very, very virtuous in nature. They guide you through life, they show you the way, and they are more than happy to share their experiences and how you should deal with a certain situation, right? Or certain circumstances. So these kinds of people, they are very virtuous in their nature, because despite not getting any recognition in return, in today's world, that is the way in which you can understand this, they are getting no recognition in return, but still they are showing up to help you, right? So these are virtuous personalities in your life, right? It could come in the form of parents, maybe you have elder siblings, they would come up in any form, right? So such virtuous people, you should have a sense of joy towards them, right? You should always be very welcoming of them in your life, very happy to have them or have their participation into your lives, right? So towards positive people, you should show a friendly attitude, but towards virtuous people, you should always show a sense of gratitude and happiness, right? There should be a sense of joy, right? So after this category of people, you will also meet one more category of people. These people are the people who want to hurt you, okay? So there are some people who will intentionally want to hurt you, cause you harm, right? And for those people, the non-virtuous people, you need to create an attitude of indifference towards such people, right? So indifference doesn't mean that you just simply don't acknowledge them, or you suppress your feelings, you don't show that you don't like them. Not like that. It's just that sometimes somebody might seem a very big obstacle, and then once you take a step back, you are able to exist in their presence just like that. Okay, so it's not as if you are suppressing any feeling or being reactive. You are just indifferent. If they are there in the room, they are there. If they are not there, they are not there, right? So developing the attitude of indifference is the way that Patanjali says it's the correct way of dealing with the non-virtuous personalities, right? It's like there is fire, right, and I throw more petrol in it, right, or I bring another stick of fire and add to that fire. If I just shout at them, or if I just harm them back, right, because fire can never suppress the fire, but water can, right? So when Patanjali gave this approach towards the non-virtuous people, he said this thing that his meaning was coming from somewhere, this analogy only, that in order to deal through or tackle through a particular kind of personality which is hurting you, hurting them is not the way out, right? But you can, after some work on your own self, you can come to a place where you become indifferent towards their presence altogether, right? And you will encounter these 4 kinds of people in your life all the time, right? You will find people who are positive, you will find people who are struggling and suffering, right? You will find people who are virtuous, you will find people who are non-virtuous, right? So he gave the correct way of dealing with each category of people. So today what you can do is see whatever interactions you are having today till tomorrow, right? You can see this thing. How is this interaction going? Or what kind of person am I interacting with actually, right? And once you begin to see this thing, okay, this is the type of person I am interacting with, right? Then you can develop the right kind of attitude towards them. The development of this state of mind will lead you to an overall development of your attitude towards any future person also who is going to fall in either of these categories, right? So it is going to be very helpful for you overall to deal with people when you adopt the correct kind of attitude, right? Now, each and everything that we do, it adds up to the conduct. So behavior done regularly becomes conduct, right? Both your behavior and your conduct are going to get influenced by your thoughts, and in return they are going to influence your thoughts as well, right? And the quality of the thoughts, again, with the food, with the kind of recreation that you take, that you make time for every day, you will come to this point where you are able to make the changes in your life which are now implemented, all right? They are infused in the way in which you are living or leading your life altogether, right? And that is a very, very little things, they are going to add up to change the quality of your life overall, right? There is a very famous story also related to the behavior only, which very famous story. So at the time of Lord Shiv, so Lord Shiv, he was the husband of Parvati ji, right? But he was also the teacher of Parvati ji. So his wife, let me just try this if my video is, I hope I am clearly audible and visible now, right? So if I am not, let me know. Okay, great. So very famous story of previous time. Lord Shiv, who gave the practices of yoga, he was the teacher of his wife as well. So in the house they were husband and wife, and in the normal classes they were student and teacher, right? So Lord Shiv, he sitting in the class. Oh, no worries, Erica. I hope you are able to hear clearly. That's the main concern. right? So right. So yeah, so he was the teacher and she was the student in the class. So one morning when the class was about to begin, so Lord Shiv had already taken his seat and he was waiting for Parvati ji to come in. And Parvati ji, as she entered the class, Lord Shiv, he was sitting in meditation, so he opened his eyes and he told Parvati ji that go and take a bath, right? So now student doesn't question the teacher. If teacher is giving some task, students earlier used to do that thing, right? So Parvati ji went, took a bath, right? She wanted to say that I have already taken a bath and then I have come to the class, but she wasn't able to, right? Because the teacher had said that you have to go and take a bath, so you have to go and take a bath, right? So she went back, she took another bath, right? And then she came back. So now ancient times, there was no geyser, there was no hot water, and especially where Lord Shiv and Parvati ji they lived, it was a hill kind of region, so it was already very cold there. So the water that was flowing on the river, like in the river in that area, that was also very cold, right? So then Parvati ji took another bath, she came back again. So as soon as she entered the class, now without even opening his eyes, Lord Shiv instructed her, go take a bath again, right? So now Parvati ji was confused. He had just told me himself to take a bath. I took a bath, I came back, and again he is sending me back to take a bath. So she said, okay, let me go again, right? So she went again, she came back again after taking the bath, and again she just said the same thing, right? So now she was like, she couldn't understand what is happening. So she, being in the class, she was the student, so she thought in her mind that let him come home, then he will be the husband, no, then I will take care of him, right? Again and again he is sending me to take a bath in such cold water, right? So then she went for bath again, came again the same thing repeated. But now this time when she went to take the bath, she understood why Lord Shiv was sending her back again and again, right? So Lord Shiv, he wanted that when she takes the bath, she is able to feel each and every drop of water that touches her body, right? He wanted her to develop that sense of awareness within her, where not even one drop passes by without her being consciously aware of that drop of water, right? So the next time when she took the bath with all of the awareness, right? All of her awareness was on the activity of bathing. And this time when she came back to the class, right, Lord Shiv, he allowed her to enter, because what he was essentially sending her to do, that task had been achieved by her through her actions, right? So change the quality of each and every action that you take every day, which will lead you to a much more aware state of mind towards all the other activities as well. You will not realize it, Yoga has this beautiful quality of mixing itself into life, right? You begin with a little thing and then you see the huge impact of that little thing, right? So you don't have to go ahead and achieve something great, right? You can begin with the smallest of the things and they are going to make the biggest of the changes in your life, right? So this entire concept, with this we will conclude the topic of lifestyle of a yoga practitioner. So look into all of these things, right? All these 5 aspects, and see whatever you can implement, right? So it's not like you will be able to implement all the things together. Whatever things you think they are practical for you, you can do them continuously. Pick those things, implement. Even if you have questions related to the other aspects, right, just follow as much as you understand, right? And you will eventually, through your practice, find the answers to your own questions, right? That's the beauty of yoga. I can tell you the technique, but you will find your own answers, right? When you sit for meditation, somebody can tell you the technique, they can guide you through meditation, but they give the tool in your hands, right? You explore and discover your own self. So let yoga, become a part of how you live rather than something you show up to do every day, right? So any questions or doubts related to any of the topics we had discussed so far? Any difficulties, any doubts? Okay, all right, right. So feel free to write it down in the chat box also. I will be more than happy to address your doubts if you have any, right? So let's start with our pranayam class. Okay, so today we are going to go for stage 3, right? The last practice and all the practices that we have been doing so far. So today we are actually going to discuss the practice of Nadi Shodhana, right? First stage was a pre-practice, second stage was a preparatory, again a preparatory practice only, but it is a practice in itself also when done continuously. It is called Anulom Vilom, right? And now the concept of Nadi Shodhana comes in, right? So Nadi Shodhana is a pre-practice for the pranayams. Nadi Shodhana, as I have already explained, it is the cleansing of the energy channels, and I gave you the proper reason also why we need to cleanse the energy channels before we begin the pranayam practices, right? So this practice originally has retention in it. Okay, so when Anulom Vilom is practiced with internal retention, right, Antar Kumbhak or internal retention, it turns into the practice of Nadi Shodhana, right. Nadi Shodhana is a very powerful practice in itself. In fact, you might just be able to achieve all of the targets of pranayam through the practice of Nadi Shodhana only, right? That is how powerful the practice is, that you might not even have to step into the practices of pranayam, right? Before starting the practices of pranayam, you can do Nadi Shodhana and you can achieve the final goal, ultimate goal of pranayam, which is the natural retention or the spontaneous retention. Okay, so how does one practice Nadi Shodhana? Again, you have to have a stable posture, sit comfortably, preferably sit in any kind of meditative posture in which your body can remain stable, right? And then we are going to, I'll just tell you the technique and then I will tell you the relevance of the retention, right? So the technique is quite similar to yesterday's technique, but there are few changes that we make. So with the right hand, adopt the mudra once again. Once you adopt the mudra, exhale fully. Allow the breath to move out completely and then close your right nostril. Begin to inhale through the left side. After you inhale, close the left nostril with the ring finger, open the right nostril and exhale. Now again inhale through the right, I'm so sorry, I forgot the first retention part, sorry. So we'll start once again, really sorry about that. Close the right nostril, after fully exhaling, close the right nostril and begin to inhale through the left side. After you inhale, close both the nostrils and hold. Now open the right nostril and exhale. Again, after the exhalation, you have to begin to inhale through the right side again. Close both the nostrils, hold the breath. And then open the left nostril and exhale through the left side. This forms one round, okay. So essentially what I did was I inhaled through the left side like we did yesterday, and after that, after the breath is inside, I hold it, okay. I retain the breath and then like yesterday exhale through the right side. Then again, after the exhalation is complete, I begin to inhale once again, right? So after I inhale, again I put a pause, I hold the breath, and then I exhale through the left side once again. This completes one round. So now I have 6 steps instead of 4, right? So this is the overall technique of Nadi Shodhana, right? So let's talk a little bit about retention. Then if you have any doubts, you can clarify those before we begin our practice. So let's talk about why retention, what is the relevance. So we are here, when we are discussing retention, we are talking about the internal retention, okay? We are not talking about the external retention, because we are not practicing the external retention, right? So internal retention is a very, very important process, right? So generally when we are breathing in and we are breathing out, there is an exchange of gases that is taking place continuously, right? So when we inhale and exhale, actually the exchange of the gases, it's not able to take place very efficiently, right? So right now, like I am going through normal respiration, so the exchange of the gases, it's not very efficient. So first thing that happens when we begin to incorporate retention into our practices, this exchange gets time. So once I inhale the air in, it eventually reaches to a portion of the lungs which are called alveoli, right? In your anatomy classes also you will most likely cover this concept. Alveoli are nothing but sac-like structures, and they are having like they are thin, okay, and so are the blood vessels which are passing by the alveoli, right? So the exchange of gases takes place because of a process called osmosis, right? So osmosis is a very simple concept. If there is less of something on one side and more of something on one side, it will exchange, right? So whatever is more here, it will go towards that side and it will fill this empty side, right? So same thing happens when we are doing respiration, how the gases exchange is taking place. The impure blood, or the blood which has excess, which has CO2 in excess, right, that CO2 moves out and moves towards the alveoli, right? And then the alveoli which has excess oxygen in it, when we inhale, we are taking in oxygen, so excess of oxygen is present on the other side, so that shifts to this side, right? So this kind of shift takes place because of the difference in the proportion, right, of the oxygen and carbon dioxide, right? So when this kind of exchange happens, that is when we begin to exhale, right? So when we introduce internal retention, what begins to actually happen is this exchange gets more time. So right now, because I am breathing in and out continuously, maybe proper exchange of gases is not taking place, right? But as soon as I begin to retain the breath, this exchange, the time of exchange, it increases, and hence the toxins from the body get released much better when you begin to practice internal retention, okay? Second very important thing that happens when we begin to practice internal retention is actually how each and every cell is receiving the oxygen, and then again each and every cell is releasing some carbon dioxide, how that exchange is taking place, right? So yogis look very young, no? If you see pranayama practitioners especially, you will see they look very young, they seem very lively, and there is a glow on their face at all times. They don't put on any creams, nothing, right? So what is essentially happening, right? When you hold the breath in during internal retention, the exchange of gases that has taken place, it also gets ample amount of time to reach each and every cell, right? When it gets this amount of time, the oxygen reaches all the cells properly. right? And you should be aware of this thing by now, or even if you aren't, from today you will be aware, right, that most of the diseases in the body occur because the cells don't get proper amount of oxygen, right? So pranayama practitioners, that is why they don't have disease doesn't develop on their body, age doesn't show up on their body. Why? Because when you begin to retain, then the cells, they are getting the oxygen properly, and as a result the carbon dioxide also moves out more efficiently. Then it is carried again by the blood, brought till the alveoli. Then that process takes place more properly, means that overall the rate of oxygen that reaches each and every cell, that is much better than before, than normal respiration, and the release of the toxins is also much better from the body, right? So that is why retention, and especially internal retention, is of very great importance to us, right? Having said this, and to having given after giving you the correct reasoning also behind it, what is happening in the mechanics of the body, I would say this thing, that forced retention will cause you more trouble than benefit. Okay, so retention has to be approached very, very slowly. If currently you are only able to hold the breath for a few seconds, it's not you are not able to hold the breath in for a long period of time. There is no point in forcing it. If you force this process, you will end up causing harm to your body, right? So for today, let's just check our own bandwidth, how much we are able to retain the breath in, and if possible you can at least keep the time equivalent to the time of inhalation and exhalation, right? So try to practice all three stages, which is inhalation, retention and exhalation, in the equal ratio. But even if the retention is smaller, for now it's okay. Slowly your target should be to get it to a point where the retention is equivalent to the inhalation and exhalation, duration of the inhalation and exhalation, right? Okay, so I wasn't talking about this disease, but I am saying this thing, right, that each and every cell, it will get proper amount of oxygen when you hold the breath in, right? So the oxygen gets more time to travel throughout the body, right? When it gets this kind of time before it has to come back with all of the collected carbon dioxide, then it reaches each and every cell, right? When it reaches each and every cell, it energizes. Of course, oxygen is such an important part of the metabolism, or the metabolisms, only you can say, the metabolisms that take place in a cell, right? So when you retain the breath, right, you allow that process to happen properly, oxygen reaching the cell properly and carbon dioxide being released from the cell properly, right? So this will lead to, this is the major cause of most of the diseases, right, where the body part is not able to get proper oxygenation, right? So this is the major issue behind all the diseases, when the oxygenation in the body is not well. So when you start practicing internal retention, these are the kinds of benefits that you begin to gain, or which show up on your body, right? But retention should not be forced, it should be natural, and you should slowly proceed to develop your capacity to retain more, right? So don't retain the breath just because it has been written that for 3 seconds or 5 seconds or 10 seconds it's minimum. No. Your body will tell you which is the minimum amount of time that you can retain the breath for, and the maximum amount of time. So don't ever cross that amount of time which gets too uncomfortable for you. Okay. Contraindications for this practice, very common, like previously I have said this thing, cough, cold, fever, These are 3 situations, and yesterday I also added if somebody is having a very introverted nature, then probably this is not the practice for them, even though in some amounts it can still be given, right? When you begin to retain the breath, then heart patients and high BP patients completely avoid retention, right? If they have heart disease, if they have high BP, then rather than going for Nadi Shodhana, you can introduce yesterday's practice Anulom Vilom, which is having continuous flow, right? So any doubts or questions? Otherwise we will just sit and practice for a while, right? I see we have 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I might take 5 minutes extra today. I started little late. Your previous class ended little late, so I started late. But if there are no doubts, we will start with the practice. Okay. If you feel retention is not for you, suppose you begin to practice and you are just saying, I am unable to hold, then practice Anulom Vilom only, yesterday's practice only. Yeah. So keep your back and neck straight and sit comfortably in any cross-legged position, any meditative position. And once you feel ready, very gently close your eyes. Start observing your breath. Watch the natural flow of your breathing. Now turn your attention towards your body. Align your posture. Slowly and gently come back to your breathing. We are going to prepare for our first practice, right? So we are going to go for abdominal breathing. You can place one hand on your abdomen, or you can just relax both the hands and just be aware of the movement of your abdomen as you breathe in and out. Exhale fully, contract your abdomen. As you begin to inhale, feel your abdomen expand. As you exhale, contract your abdomen again. Going back to the inhalation, feeling the expansion in the abdomen. And as you exhale, contracting your abdomen again. Just follow this pattern of breathing for a few more breaths. Try to gain control over your breath. Keep your focus on your abdominal region. After your next exhalation, relax your hand, completely suspend the practice and come to the natural flow of your breathing. Observe the changes after this practice. Keeping your back and neck straight, prepare yourself for the practice of Anulom Vilom. So with your right hand, form the preferable mudra. Exhale fully. And then close your right nostril. Begin to inhale through the left side. Once you complete your inhalation, close the left nostril, open the right nostril and exhale. After exhaling fully, again inhale through the right side. Close the right nostril after inhalation, open the left nostril and begin to exhale. This is one round. Continue your practice like this. Inhaling through the left, always starting from the left side and finishing on the left side as well. Keep the flow of the breath smooth. There should be no excessive force in the way in which you are breathing. After your next round, completely suspend your practice. Relax your hand and keep your back and neck straight. Simply observe the change in the state of your mind, the sense of balance and peace that is induced because of your practice. Keeping your back and neck straight, prepare yourself for the final practice, the practice of Nadi Shodhana. So with your right hand again form the mudra. Exhale fully, close your right nostril and begin to inhale through the left nostril. After inhaling, close both the nostrils, retain the breath inside. Open the right nostril and exhale fully. After full exhalation, again begin to inhale through the right side. Hold the breath inside, close both the nostrils. And then gently open the left nostril and go for exhalation. This is one round. Try a few more rounds, so just don't force the holding. Go in the same flow, beginning and closing the practice always through the left nostril. Keep your mind fully focused on your practice. After completing your next round, exhaling through the left side, you can relax your hand, suspend your practice. Keep your back and neck straight and just see what difference you feel just by incorporating the internal retention. Keep your back and neck straight. We are going to chant Om one time, followed by 3 Shantis to close today's session. Take a deep inhalation for Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Join your hands together, gently bow down. Begin to rub both your palms together. Place them on your eyes. One more time, rub the palms together. Place them over your eyes. Very slowly, while blinking and looking at your palms, begin to open up your eyes. Come back with a big smile on your face. Om Shanti. Namaste.